A healthy life is always a happy life, and vice versa. So if you are happy, you will always be healthy, and your energy you can only experience is totally different. So everything is taken care in the body if you are happy. So regardless of the situation, you need to be happy. It's so difficult, but yet not impossible.
Welcome to this episode of Sustainability Karma. I'm your host Naina Gautam, and today we have with us Dr. N K Venkataramana. He's the chairman founder of Brains Super Speciality Hospital, Bengaluru. He's the leading neurosurgeon in India. He has also written a book, The Secret of Brain Wellness: Way Forward to a Healthy Life. Welcome, Dr. N K Venkataramana.
Thank you very much, Naina. Thank you for having me in your show.
So, Brain Super Speciality Hospital in Bengaluru caters to brain related ailments. How did you come up with the idea of establishing the hospital?
Yeah, with the increasing life expectancy as well as uh, increasing number of brain problems that's happening with age and otherwise, there has been a tremendous upsurge in the brain disorders, both brain, spine, as well as the mind-related disorders are tremendously increasing. So both in the pediatric as well as the adult population. Now, after the COVID, for some specific reasons, stroke in young and many things like brain fog, epilepsy, degenerative conditions, autoimmune conditions have tremendously increased. Now, this apart, I realized that brain is one single organ that takes care of the entire body, and if the some way or other we work out a model where the brain can be taken care of, it knows how to take care of your body. That means the brain and the mind and the body complex can be healthy all through that. Now, the idea of this is that, the specialty itself is expanding so much that it needs a special attention. And there are very few centers which are totally dedicated to the brain as such. We must look at the brain as an organ where not only the functionality as well as dysfunction has to be looked at it. And this is one organ which undergoes injury as well as degeneration for various reasons. So this is the reason I thought we'll put all the possible things under one roof, under one umbrella, where brain, spine, and mind can be treated together under one roof with state-of-the-art facilities. And tremendous amount of research is happening. So many gadgets are coming. So many new things are happening. We need to incorporate not only for today but also for tomorrow. So that is the purpose. We thought we'll start with the brains. Brains actually stands for Bangalore Regenerative Advanced Institute of Neurosciences. So the whole purpose is to see that we take care of the brain health completely in totality, so that it takes care of our body and our societal needs.
So, how is it different from other hospitals? What's the one striking thing about Brain Super Speciality Hospital, Bengaluru?
The striking thing is that one is the 35 years of my experience in neurosciences. The second thing is that the hand-picked technology, what is useful for providing the best outcomes for the patients. Third is the best diagnostic facilities and highly skilled, competent consultants, and a teamwork, where many brains can work together and solve the problem, because most of the neurological diseases are complex and we need to have a comprehensive service. And it's not only a medical treatment, surgical treatment, critical care treatment. It is also a comprehensive treatment starting from the emergency care, pre-hospital care, critical care, rehabilitation, and all the support services and a long-term follow-up. In addition, we also envisage at advocacy, awareness, education is very important, so that people will become aware of brain as well as brain disorders, so that they'll come in the right time, they'll get the right kind of treatment, so that they'll go back with the right kind of results as well as right kind of functional activity.
So, what is a stroke? Why does it happen?
Stroke is a catastrophic event that occurs suddenly, resulting in paralysis of the limbs, loss of speech, loss of sensation, loss of balance or loss of memory, suddenly disabling the individual temporarily or permanently. So this is happens because of various reasons. The main reason is the sudden loss of blood supply to the brain. So this is called an ischemic stroke. This is something which is commonly known as the stroke in general population. But what we have done is that basically the brain stroke is related to its blood supply and the blood vessels of the brain. So the risk factors are similar to that of heart attack as well. So when we control all the risk factors, and the brain attack and the heart attack can be totally managed and prevented as well as treated effectively. So that is why we introduced this concept called brain attack, which includes 4 conditions. One is what we call a ischemic stroke, where brain loses its blood supply suddenly because of the blockage in the blood vessel. Now, this is common parlance, is known as the brain stroke or paralysis. The second thing is the brain hemorrhage, where a blood vessel of the brain will rupture and produce bleeding inside the brain. And this is usually because of the hypertension, the high BP. And this is called brain hemorrhage. And third one is called subarachnoid hemorrhage. It's called thunderbolt headache, where people have never experienced such severe headache suddenly, and they become unconscious. And this is basically because of abnormal enlargement of the blood vessel. We call it as aneurysm, which ruptures around the brain, so that around the brain there will be bleeding, and that can cause serious complications that has to be treated as very urgently. And last but not the least, brain gets blood supply through the arteries, and all this blood will be drained back to the heart through the veins. We call it as cerebral veins. These veins can get occluded, particularly after the delivery in women, after taking some of these drugs like hormonal pills, diarrhea, or any kind of dehydration. People working in very hot weather, particularly in our country, they're all prone for this condition called cortical venous thrombosis or cerebral venous thrombosis. So this also can cause similar to the stroke, and it can cause seizures, it can cause paralysis, it can cause behavioral disturbances. So we have combined all the 4 conditions together and put that as one entity as a brain attack. And we wanted to promote this concept to the people so that they realize the urgency and the need for an emergency treatment at the right place, in the right time, what we call it as golden hours. And when such a condition is treated in the golden hours, diagnosed properly and treated effectively, the results can be pretty good, and we can reduce the disability. Incidentally, this brain attack is the leading cause of disability in the world today.
What are the early symptoms of stroke?
Usually, many people do get some warning signs. We call it as TIAs, transient ischemic attacks. People get a sudden loss of vision or blurring of vision, or one half of the vision lost, and then suddenly recovers. And then you lose sensation in one half of the body and then recover. Sudden weakness in the hand or the leg and recovers back. And we call it transient global amnesia, where suddenly they can't recollect anything. Suddenly go blank. All the memory is lost and then regains gradually. Usually, these symptoms will not last more than a few hours, and invariably a complete recovery happens within a day. So this is called transient ischemic attack. This is a definite warning sign for an impending stroke in the future. But many ignore this because they're not aware, number one. Number two, they try to give explanation. I didn't eat properly, I didn't sleep properly, I was tired, I was bad. These 100 reasons to explain and not to get examined. So this is one of the things which need to be aware of. And soon after that, suddenly, they can get into this kind of a problem where suddenly the hand and leg is paralyzed, their vision is lost or imbalanced, are not able to walk. Whereas the hemorrhage usually gives a severe headache along with that. Whatever brain hemorrhage, either subarachnoid hemorrhage or intracerebral hemorrhage, will also have an associated severe headache. And because of that, of course, they will seek medical help much better. Whereas ischemic strokes can be very silent. They can most often occur in the sleep, early in the morning. We never know what time really it happened. Morning they realize that, is paralyzed. And then that's the time they have to rush to the hospital. But because it is painless, people do ignore generally, and then they don't never come to the hospital in the golden hours.
Can stroke happen at any age?
Yes, normally it is supposed to happen in the elderly people because the blood vessels will get aged, they undergo some changes, they become narrow. There is a atherosclerotic changes, cholesterol deposits happen inside, making the blood vessels narrow, reducing the blood supply to the brain. But it can happen at any age, particularly today with India being the capital of diabetes and the hypertension being very common in people. So it's happening in all ages. Surprisingly, after the COVID virus has a special predilection to the cerebral blood vessels and apart from the lung. So as a result, very many young people who had COVID in the past are developing strokes as well as heart attacks. So the sudden strokes in young people have become extremely common. And children are not exempt to stroke either. They also can have certain diseases like moya and vasculitis, autoimmune diseases. All of them can lead to strokes. Apart from that, there can be a developmentally abnormal blood vessels within the system, and that can lead to that. And there are many systemic conditions that can also cause stroke. And like, for example, uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled hypertension, uncontrolled kidney disease, polycystic kidney disease, and any related to the blood vessels itself, or there are conditions which related to the blood itself, for example, polycythemia. Such conditions can also lead to stroke. So when you say stroke is nothing only related to the blood, there are so many things we need to look into. So it's better any of such warning signs as that if they come early, we can investigate systematically for all these conditions, and then we can do that. That is the reason we have developed a stroke center where all these conditions for all the age groups, depending upon the criteria, we evaluate, investigate, find out all the risk factors. So what is important is that when a stroke occurs one time, people think that is the end of it. It will not happen again. It's not true. Many times it can happen again and again in the lifetime. Especially more the younger the people are, this more risk for us in the sense that we need to manage their blood vessels for the longer period of time during their lifespan. So they need to be evaluated thoroughly for all the underlying conditions, and they have to be controlled and kept controlled all through, apart from the routine treatment for the present stroke. So this is the main aim of the stroke center at Brains Hospital.
What should be done by the family when suddenly a stroke strikes?
When a stroke strikes, particularly, even the patient themselves, most of the times they'll be conscious. Very few become unconscious immediately, except in the brain hemorrhage. When they are conscious and they realize that they are not able to move the hand or leg in the night, especially early morning, they should immediately alert the family and the family doctor or the hospital to reach the hospital at the earliest. If the family, as soon as they detect any variation, slight deviation of the face, or they're not able to utter their name or words properly, they're losing balance or swaying to one side, or hand or leg is not moving, or complaining numbness, or the vision there is a problem, any such earliest change in any elderly people or anybody in the family member, it should be picked up immediately, and they should not neglect. Let's wait and see, give them some food, give them some juice, and wait and see. Such things should not be there. They should be rushed to the hospital. Earlier they come, it's better. Earlier we used to recommend that they need to come within 3.5 hours to become eligible for the thrombolysis treatment. Today, fortunately, it has been extended 6 hours, as well as now recent recommendations is up to 24 hours. This is the greatest boon for the people. But earlier they come, it's better. Not that they have to come only at 24 hours. Earlier they come, the softer is the clot, and better it gets dissolved with the medicine, and quicker is the recovery. So that's how we recommend. The moment they detect or even suspect a stroke, whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter, because there are other conditions which will mimic stroke as well. But that need not be worried at the home level. They need to quickly bring him to the emergency department where stroke facility is available. And unfortunately, there are very few stroke-ready hospitals or stroke centers available in the country. But this is one of the aims, to promote the concept of brain attack, so that we'll have more and more stroke units in the future in the country, so that we can reduce the disability and diagnose this. At the same time, stroke is a preventable, highly preventable situation, and we need to identify all the risk factors. That is why anyone beyond 25 years and certainly after 40 years needs a complete health check so that we can identify these factors very early and then they can be controlled so that we can prevent a possible stroke.
What kind of lifestyle is more prone to being struck by a stroke?
Yes, the people who are obese, very sedentary, those who are indulging in excessive smoking, excessive alcohol, and no lack of exercise and drug abuse. These are the people who are highly prone for the stroke. Apart from that, uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled hypertension, and emotional stress. And one recent thing which we have realized is the snoring. People who snore at night when they sleep, they are very highly prone for the strokes as well as heart attacks. So a sound sleep, what has been told earlier, is not really good, not really healthy. So those who are making sound during sleep has to be investigated. A sleep study has to be conducted. If there is obstructive sleep apnea, what we can call it as, during that time where the oxygen levels to the brain comes down significantly. So that can cause a serious stroke. So these are the people who need to be kept on a watch and need to be evaluated so that we can avoid them developing a stroke.
How is you just mentioned about emotional wellness and stroke? So how are the two related?
The emotional well-being usually keeps the person very happy with a good social relationships, very relaxing, enjoying, happy, basically. So it is supposed to keep your, blood sugars, high blood pressures, and immune system very healthy. Now, if a person is very highly stressed, obviously, very frequently he is releasing his own adrenaline and noradrenaline and steroids within the body. These are naturally they are all produced in the body, and they get released when the person is getting angry and we're getting stressed and he's shouting at small things. So what happens very frequently, he's getting exposed to these hormones which are called stress hormones as such, and they can increase the heart rate, put stress on the heart, they can increase the blood pressure, they put stress on the blood vessels, they also alter the cholesterol mechanism, they also alter the coagulation mechanism within the body. So the platelets will increase. So suddenly they all be prone for these kind of developing blood clots. And that can happen in the brain, is brain attack, it can happen in the heart, in heart attack. So this is a very, very, very common thing. And people do not realize this. And people who have sleep disorders, as of people who do not sleep properly, also are prone for this. Whereas people who are happy, maintaining very healthy lifestyle, emotionally they are stable, very socially very interactive and calm and easygoing, and that doesn't mean that they don't work. They can work, but they can work at ease. And those who are ease with themselves first, and obviously they'll become at ease with others as well. And that gives an innate happiness that people will have an inherent stimulation of the vagus nerve. And vagus nerve is stimulation is always vagal tone. Once it increases, it relaxes the blood vessels, it improves the blood flow, it keeps the heart rate under control, it keeps the mind at calm, their work efficiency is good, their immune system is better, their coagulation system is fine. So, and all the organs need not undergo stress because of this release of the stress hormones are kept at abeyance. So, because of these various reasons, physiological mechanisms, so they will have a good sleep, they are very calm, and still they do a lot of work, such people. So, and they are definitely less prone for these strokes. But there are exceptions where such people also, if they have some underlying illnesses, they need to be taken care of. It doesn't mean that just emotional wellness alone is the main thing, but one of the major factors. And today's world, this is becoming the major cause because so much of unhealthy competition, and the world is going in a totally different direction. Interpersonal relationships are not there. People are becoming more and more individualized, nuclear, and a lot of stress in the family, in the society, at workplace, and that's what is causing this problem. So, and many are resorting to various kinds of, even to sleep, they are resorting to the medications. So, and in addition, because of the work pressure, they don't sleep properly, they don't eat properly, they eat junk food, and they don't do exercise. So these are all adding to these emotional health problems, which invariably cause these diseases.
Thank you, Dr. N K Venkataramana, for such an insightful conversation.
Thank you, Naina. Thank you very much.
This is Naina Gautam signing off for Sustainability Karma.
We hope you like this program. We look forward to your feedback on our WhatsApp number 9818120554. For participation in this program, write to us at sustainability.karma@gmail.com. You may also connect with us on social media. This podcast is also available on podcast hosting sites. Looking forward to meet you again at the same time next week with a new episode and a new guest. Till then, goodbye from all of us. Sustainability Karma, a podcast series on sustainable development, sustainability and ESG.